This is a stimulus and Social Security update. Got some important updates to share with you. Republican senator blaming President Biden for trying to save Social Security, saying President Biden did not make himself available. I'll give you more info on that. New bill introducing $500 and $1,000 checks, but there is an April deadline for it to pass in order for those checks to go out. Republicans not too happy with President Biden's veto of the ESG. Even Joe Manchin saying that he wasn't too happy about that and ripping President Biden. And there is a new bipartisan bill with a cap of $35 for insulin, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more daily, straight-to-the-point updates on matters that financially matter to you. So, Americans in line to get one-time direct payment between $500 and $1,000. See if you could claim the cash. So this is going on in New Mexico, and Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham officially signed the law this year, but there is an April 7th deadline. So the payments would be sent out regardless of income status. So $500 for single filers, $1,000 for couples, and regardless of income status, and Grisham has until April 7th to put the law into effect. So it looks like by April 7th, hopefully it could be passed and $500 and $1,000 checks could be going out. I'll keep you updated on that. And then House GOP fails to override Biden veto of ESG investing ban. So there was a bill that went to President Biden's desk, and it was President Biden's first veto. And the reason why President Biden vetoed it is because ESG stands for environmental, social, or governance issues in retirement and other investment decisions. Basically, Republicans tried to override the veto, but were unsuccessful in that. So many of them not too happy. Even Joe Manchin rips Biden administration's radical policy agenda after absolutely infuriating ESG veto. So Senator Joe, excuse me. Senator Joe Manchin said the Biden administration's push for environmental, social, and governance factors in retirement investing is part of a radical policy agenda that harms West Virginians. So yeah, Joe Manchin not too happy with this veto as well. And like I said, they were not successful in trying to override that. Biden blamed for slowdown in senators' bid to save Social Security, never made himself available. So over the past week or so, looks like Senator Bill Cassidy here has been the face of trying to save Social Security from the Republican perspective. So it seems like it's kind of like a retaliatory hit back for saying that the Republicans were the ones trying to cut Social Security. Now Bill Cassidy going on multiple shows, interviews, being the face of it, saying that he wants to save Social Security, and President Biden not wanting to make himself available to save Social Security. So played a few clips over the past week. What Bill Cassidy is saying here, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, is President Biden has never made himself available to hear about the Cassidy-King proposal to save Social Security from impending 24% benefits cuts. Biden calls himself a deal maker. We can't make a deal without him. By not engaging, the president is choosing that current retirees' Social Security benefits are cut by 24%. So when he mentions that 24%, there's some law that if there's no funding for Social Security or something, that it could be cut. The funds for Social Security could be used for other parts of government, and there could be a 24% benefits cut for Social Security for current beneficiaries. I don't think it'll get to that point, but he is mentioning that a lot, I guess, to try to garner public support for him to try to meet with President Biden and save Social Security from his words. So yeah, that's what's going on there. But what's President Biden been up to? Well, he is going on tour throughout America. President Biden to kick off Investing in America tour in North Carolina. So he's going to be going around the country, I guess, talking about Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act. This is according to the White House. Science, the bipartisan infrastructure law, I guess, kind of saying all the good things that, he claims to have done. So, yeah, he's going through North Carolina, Arkansas, Puerto Rico, Houston, Texas. Yeah, looks like he's going to a few different places here. And then, so big news here, Warnock insulin bill goes bipartisan. So Senator Warnock looks like a bill to cap insulin at $35, which is, really, if you think about how much it costs to make insulin and the history behind it, one thing I didn't know is that it was made almost 100 years ago, and the patent sold for $1 because they believed it belonged to the world, that everyone should not have to pay a lot of money for insulin. But some are thinking differently about that. Take a look at what he has to say about it.
The president called on the companies to do this voluntarily. He also called on you. He called on Congress to pass legislation to make the $35 a month cap available for everyone.
Well, absolutely. It was a year ago in February that I introduced a piece of legislation that was focused on capping the cost of insulin for folks on Medicare and people with private insurance. We were able to get the Medicare provision over the finish line. It was included in the Inflation Reduction Act. It caps the cost of insulin for folks on Medicare to $35. But here's the thing. Insulin shouldn't be expensive for anybody. This is a 100-year-old drug. When it was created, the patent was sold for $1. And pharmaceutical companies have been engaged in price gouging simply because they could. And I'm glad we were able to cap it for folks on Medicare. Today, on this 13th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, I introduced a piece of legislation along with my Republican partner in this effort, Senator John Kennedy, that will cap the cost of insulin for folks on private insurance and also for people who have no insurance at all. I am a United States Senator, but this is informed in the first instance from my work as a pastor. I cannot tell you how many times I've stood in waiting rooms with families. I've stood at bedsides when folks have gotten the news of what happens when diabetes is unmanaged. The amputations, the kidney disease that goes out of control, the need for a new kidney. $1 out of $4 in our healthcare system is spent on people with diabetes. And so, quite frankly, Lawrence, this is why I do this work. This is why I put up with politics, because every now and then there's an opportunity to do something that's really going to help people. And this is going to help a lot of folks.
There are prospects, it sounds like, in the Senate for getting a bipartisan vote on this.
Well, as I said, I introduced the legislation today. This is something I've been working on for a long time. I'm glad that my colleague on the other side of the aisle, John Kennedy, is a co-sponsor of this bill. We are committed to getting it over the finish line. And here's the thing, we're also committed to paying for it. We don't want to add any more to the national debt. I don't think it's necessary to get this done. So written into the provision of the law itself is that we will have to have a pay for, and we will find it and hopefully get this across the finish line. There are some 20 states that have already capped the cost of insulin. Many of them are red states like Alabama, Utah, Oklahoma. Diabetes is not a partisan issue. It's a public health issue. It's a human issue. It's something I've seen up close. My guest at the State of the Union was a young woman named Lacey McGee. She was a graduate student years ago here in Georgia. And she tells harrowing stories of meeting people on Facebook and then connecting with them in dimly lit parking lots to get a drug, not to get high, but to stay alive. 1 in 4 people who need diabetes, who need insulin, have rationed their insulin. Imagine that in the United States of America, people rationing insulin, taking expired insulin, borrowing insulin from friends left over from their dead relatives. This is immoral, it's unnecessary, and today we began an important step towards correcting that.
What are your thoughts there? I find it very interesting. Basically the people who are against insulin cap of $35, I would follow the money because most likely, whether Democrat or Republican, they're being paid off by the pharmaceutical industries to try to keep the price of insulin higher. So I would follow the money for anyone against capping insulin at $35, especially given the history over the past 100 years. But anyways, that is all the news that I have for you today. To hopefully cheer you up a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella's tip of the day. I want to say that never let bad vibes take over you. You have to let the good vibes just let you free. You have to always be good and always be humble and always be great to everybody. And I love making these tip of the days for you guys because you guys are my friends. Bye! I want to do a tip of the day. I'm going to do a tip of the day. Hi guys. Hi. This is my tip of the day. I want to say don't go in the road. If you cross, you'll get smushed. And have a great day. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. Today is Friday, so we have a homeschool meeting with a bunch of other kids and parents from our community, from our area, Myrtle Beach, and yeah, I teach the teens. Bella goes in her class, and yeah, so we're excited to do that. We're gonna head over there right after this video. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. If you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click right up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.